Welcome to Conversations with Yolanda. I'm so excited that you have joined us today and looking forward to my special guest that's here with me today. And we're going to be talking about women in leadership and empowering women and how important that is, and just talking about the work that she's doing just globally. And I have Senela here with me this morning, and I'm so excited to have you with me. Just want you to start off by really just sharing with me about the work that you're doing globally. And then we're going to jump into some special questions that I have for you.
Hi, Yolanda. A warm welcome to all your audience, your listeners today. And I'm Senela Jayasuriya. I'm the founder CEO of Women Empowered Global. And we have presence in 20 countries around the world. I work with currently over 34 very dynamic, multi-award-winning women around the world to design knowledge tools to help women thrive and accelerate their leadership goals, their process towards leadership. So really, that is the niche that I specialize in. I am also a corporate trainer. I'm a certified leadership coach, and I do a lot of combined group work for both men and women in the space of empowerment and leadership. And then a very important piece, Yolanda, in my work I noticed is that what I personally observe firsthand is when it comes to certain programs where I sort of engage with the participants, the audience, and I encourage them to come forward for question and answer time or role plays or demonstrations, what have you. You'd have the men they jump out of their seats, they're ready to go. And then I noticed that in some situations, in particularly the emerging leaders segment, the emerging senior executive women, she would sort of, not that she would resist, but she would first wait for somebody else to initiate and then she'd step up. And that's when I realized women have everything and more it takes to make the world more powerful. But it's just that little bit of limitation, that self-limiting belief system that we have as women.
Absolutely.
Due to various different inherited cultural scenarios going in the background of everything.
Yes.
We don't really lean in. So hence, that is why, in addition to me being a trainer for both groups, I realized, oh goodness, I really need to fill the space of dedicating more of my time to specialize and really help nurture women to thrive through really breaking that inner glass ceiling. So that is when I founded Women Empowered Global. And I love the slogan because the slogan stands out even to me, and that is shatter your glass ceiling.
That is so good. And it's so needed. I see that a lot too. And I'm so glad that as women are seeing those places where we're seeing some barriers and people and women and men not reaching their full potential, that we're stepping in and saying, let me see what I can do to impact this area, and not just sitting back and noticing it and not doing anything. Because trailblazers and difference makers, they step in and find solutions for that. Or if they have experience, they step up and say, let me share with you what my road has looked like so that I can help you do the same. So I'm so excited about the work that you're doing. And what's really great meeting you when we were in DC last year, looking at, international trade and looking at how we expand things across the world. And so this piece with women and with men in leadership, tell me, one of the big things that I've seen is that people look at different positions and different things they want to go for, but just like you just shared, in their mind, they feel like that they can't reach that area. How have you managed your day-to-day work? You're doing a lot of work. You're doing a lot of great work. How are you managing your day-to-day work and also building your brand?
I think it's just consistency and conscientiousness. Really, end of the day, it's about being mindful, and it's something you need to generate. What really drives me, Yolanda, in my line of work is, I come from the corporate background. My background is pretty much multinational, and I crossed over to entrepreneurship about 3 years back. So, but just crossing over, I know that this is my calling.
Yes.
And passion is what makes me get up, get there, and just show up and do it and make the difference that I want to see in my world, in my lifetime. So really, passion is something that keeps me propelling what I'm doing right now. In terms of how I balance it, I think it's something that every leader must face. You have a big vision, but with big vision comes big sacrifice.
Absolutely.
And the 1% in the world, Yolanda, who actually make it are those who know that, but they also find value and meaning in that sacrifice because they focus on the big end goal. And they focus on really just the rewards of putting all the sacrifice and passion in because of the impact you want to see in your lifetime.
Absolutely.
So when I really think about all that I want to do through Women Empowered and, amazing women like you, because you're in our global partner network too.
Yes.
It's just really exciting. And that kind of excitement gets me up and gets me to do what I do so passionately and so mindfully. And I just want to tell everybody who's listening right now, it's not to say that there's a magic remedy or that I've cracked a code. It's not like that. It's really being conscious and aware of what you really want to do, what the gap is in the world you've identified that you feel you belong in, and it is your calling without a doubt. And
Absolutely.
Just showing up and taking full advantage of that lifetime opportunity. Because something I tell even my coaching clients, Yolanda, is line of opportunity doesn't just sit around waiting for you. If it's special, chances are you're not going to get it back. So you've got to reach out.
Exactly. One of the things that you just said that I think it's huge, and that is showing up. I think a lot of times individuals miss the opportunities because they didn't show up. It wasn't that they didn't have the skill set and they didn't have the ability. They didn't show up. So showing up is really key to really going to that next level. So I'm so glad that you shared that, because I think people forget that part of really making it is really showing up for those opportunities that you make. Sometimes you get opportunities and you're thinking, oh, that's not going to move you to the next level, but you don't know until you show up what impact that can have, not only on you, but the impact you can have on someone else. So that is so great. One of the biggest things that I hear all the time is that, oh, what is your superpower? What is it, that thing that when you step into a room, people are drawn to? And I want to ask you that question. What do you feel like is your superpower, or what is that thing that when you stand up in front of an audience or you're in a crowd training, what is the one thing that you always hear from people or you always bring to the table that's very impactful?
Yolanda, I knew you were going to ask me. And I'm just smiling. I was smiling through your question because, just recently on my Instagram feed, I don't know if you saw it, but I reposted what Lisa Bailey, Tom Bailey's wife, posted. She has amazing girl movement, and she was holding a mug in her hand, and you know what it said?
What did it say?
My superpower is that I'm a woman. What's yours?
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great. I love that.
And, so what I take from that at a deeper level is this. There are so many different ways you can perceive that just that message right there. I think just the idea that as women, we are designed by universal law, by source, how we've been created, to be the source of childbirth, to be the source of, doing so many different things in life. We are not designed for just one purpose or one goal. We are homemakers, we are mompreneurs, business leaders. And I think just that alone, just the realization that just being who we are in our authentic space is really a power. And there again, it really derives back into the slogan of shattering your glass ceiling. I really believe that by design, women are designed for greatness, to collaborate. They're very communal, they're very empathetic, they're highly intuitive beings, and we can really make the world shake. But it's just a matter of, are we resisting our own calling and our own potential? Exactly. What kind of self-talk do we do with ourselves?
Yes.
Are we our friend or are we our enemy? So the resistance, when we talk about empowerment topics, whichever panel I speak at, I love to highlight the fact that it's very easy to talk about the resistance in the glass ceiling that comes from the boardroom and policymakers, but at the same time, we need to shed light and really recognize that there is enormous resistance that comes from within as a woman. And I think if we really hold that and recognize that and can overcome that, that is when we unlock our true power.
Absolutely. That is so good. As when we start our career, we have some things, we have some goals and some desires, and we have a list of things we want to do in our career. Tell me what were some of the challenges you faced early on in your career and how did you beat them?
Oh wow, I love your question, Yolanda. You know
Yeah.
what? Growing up in the corporate world, oh boy, I wish I had mentors. I wish I had sisters around to tell
Yes.
me, hey girl, you go for it, don't worry. But I didn't really have that. It was really trial and error. It was really being put down so that I could stand up. But thank God,
Yes.
that I stood up, because there are a lot of us out there who really don't when the system
Exactly.
tries to put us down. And a lot of the times in my personal career, I will tell you that I've had a lot of women who try to put me down. Um,
Exactly. Me too.
yeah, but so that is one thing that I just want to say we really need to celebrate each other. And I can see the movement happening where I
Yes.
think women recognize that we are territorial due to limitation of opportunity that comes to us due to so many different dynamics that go into limitations for women to really thrive with opportunity, because the equal system is something we're fighting for in the world, in the marketplace. So
Exactly.
hence women tend to be very territorial. But I think more and more leaders around the world, like women primarily, are trying to open up the conversation that it is directly more beneficial and viable in every sense to collaborate with another sister instead of fighting her for the same position.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's what I'm always cheering for. Like, we're better together. We can make greater impact together. It's not about just you by yourself. We can really make some great impact when we're working together.
Mm, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And
Absolutely.
Yolanda, I also want to just add right here that, one thing I've noticed is because I'm also a coach and I've seen that if you really observe the hierarchy, you see a lot of the numbers when it comes to women missing right at the top.
Hmm.
And you see this pattern taking place. But when you look at the entry level positions in big companies, in large corporations, you see that you have an equal level of women and men, and the women are thriving. But then the minute they hit more into the midsection in the structure, that is when, due to maybe she would decide, hey, I want to be a mom, I can't
Yes.
work, there's no work life balance, I don't have the village supporting me, so I need to quit my job. So many different things that I could respect and understand. But what I have observed in my research tells me, Yolanda, that the women who really push through and climb the ladder of fire, I call it the ladder of fire because it's
Yes.
thunder. They really
Yes,
do.
exactly.
But the girls, the women, the sisters who really do that 5% in the world, they
Hmm.
are rocking it. They are killing it. And there's nothing that can get them down. It's just getting over that little bit of resistance to
Yes.
that position. But the women who actually make it, if you really analyze the kind of skill set and mindset that they have every day in their life, it's the kind of mindset that says, hey, I will thrive on meritocracy because I believe in myself, because I'm
Yes.
assertive and I believe that I have I deserve every equal opportunity out there to do what I'm doing. It's that self-belief. So the women out there, it's very hard to defeat somebody in that position because of the enormous amount of mindset reset
Yes.
that she has gone through. And I think that is the kind of messaging that we need to tell the younger generation and the future leaders in our women, to say, push through. It's a hard journey, but when you reach out there, you could be the woman that other people want to talk about and become. You could change your life.
Exactly. That is so good. One of the things that I get all the time and calls, even working with some of my younger coaching clients, is they're always asking me, what should I be doing now? What is those things that I should be doing? And with your work that you're doing, not just in your location where you are, but globally, what are you seeing that are the missing skills that women and men are lacking in order to really go to that next level in their leadership and in their career?
I think one of the key things is really overcoming self-doubt. The minute you overcome self-doubt, it's raising your hand and asking the questions, asking for fair pay, asking for salary negotiation, asking for promotion, asking for the stretch assignment. Really about going after the opportunities you want to leverage to show your worth. It's not about waiting for people to grant it to you.
Yes, I think that's so good.
The minute you shift your paradigm to what I just expressed, I mean, Yolanda, that's what it takes. It's about asking, leaning in, raising your hand. It doesn't pay to be comfortable.
Right.
There's no movement in comfort.
Yeah.
So it's really about overcoming self-doubt. And that alone is a huge piece, Yolanda, in the work I do. Because we kind of tend to underestimate the effect that mental willpower and the resistance to that could have on performance.
Exactly.
On everyday life, Yolanda. So it's really about overcoming self-doubt. And then having a conscious action plan towards what you want to do with your goals. But raising your hand, asking for promotions and asking to be, to stand out and leverage on that. Because when opportunity comes, another issue is showing up.
Yes.
Different facets to this. So, yeah.
Exactly. With, one of the things that I started doing early in my career is exactly what you're saying. I was taking the extra work. I was looking at opportunities to do more. And even with my travel, I wasn't able to do that because somebody said go. It was that I asked, can I go on this trip? Can I go to France with this trip? Can I go? And I think it's that stepping up that allows us to even stretch ourselves and even see what we actually have inside of us more than sometimes we really can see ourselves. And even when other people see it, sometimes we can't. And with the work that you're doing globally, what do you feel like is the next thing for your organization and for you personally? What is that next thing that you want to accomplish?
Wow. Yolanda, it's been such huge dynamic journey since I founded Women Empowered Global. I cannot even believe. I'm so humbled and grateful to God, really, for just driving the mission, the vision. The minute your passion is aligned with your purpose, Yolanda, our sister, I tell you, there is no end or no way that can put you down.
Exactly.
If I was to tell you right now, there's lots of expansion happening. Like I said, we have presence in 20 countries around the world, and this has been taking place over just a span of 2 years.
Wow, I love that.
Looking back, and I just want to, put a clap out there and say, yay, this is to all the women like you, Yolanda, and everybody else in our network who has made this dream a reality. Because it really does take a village to make it work. And some of the things we're doing at Women Empowered Global is that we are in Africa, and we have a program called the African Women Leadership Forum, Yolanda, and I'm dying to get you on board because you are going to make such an amazing impact on that forum.
Oh, I would love that, yes.
Of course, you must. You're going to rock it. So we are in 10 countries, 10 African countries. We have 10 chapters, and we're growing that even more. There are certain struggles there in terms of bandwidth, internet, because we have the online academy. So that is our method to reach the women in Africa. But there is a lot of hunger and interest for personal development and growth. So we conduct this forum every month. And we have a lot of ongoing chapter interaction with the women of Africa. And we have already with us 10 countries from Africa Union. So that's ongoing. And we connect leaders from around the world. I have a lady from Switzerland who will be appearing for my women's edition next month. And that's one of the initiatives. Another one is we're launching an incubator for women.
Oh, great. That's so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's it's really about growing the female participation in entrepreneurship. Because particularly in this part of the world, in Asia, South Asia, a lot of the women, they give up because, they don't have the support system, or their husband doesn't want them to work. A lot of cultural things going in there. And one of the things that I really advocate for in that instance is to tell them, hey, if you do have the drive and desire to have some financial independence and not totally give up on your workload, because you have been working all your life and you don't want to give up, good news is you don't have to. If you cannot afford to work for somebody else because you don't have the time to commit working for someone else, you can work for yourself because you're your own boss. You set your own KPIs. So hence the incubator is so strategic and instrumental in filling the market gap to really come out with a strategy, the strategy to increase and drive female participation in entrepreneurship. So that is one thing we are working on, and we are speaking to knowledge leaders from around the world to get their ideas and insight and foresight into making sure our incubator is really factoring in a lot of the global dynamics and the kind of quality assessments you would want to see, So that's one thing. Another one is we have our group coaching, leadership coaching happening, Yolanda, and you're a part of that network too. So much is happening at a global level. And one of the things that when people ask me on a panel, they'd be like, Senela, with regards to empowerment, have you figured it out? So what can women do to be better? What is your global experience teaching you? And Yolanda, do you know my answer?
What's your answer?
There is no one remedy
exactly
for women empowerment. It is such a dynamic space because, hello, women are so dynamic.
Exactly.
So it's really about using a targeted approach, understanding who you're talking to and the type of strategy you want to achieve with that particular group, So it's about having a multicultural, multi-diversified, a multi-platform approach. And that's what we do at Women Empowered.
Exactly.
Quite like the work you're doing, Yolanda. It's wonderful.
Yes. And I see you're right. It takes multiple things because we're different people. And especially when you're doing global work. Something may work in one community that may not work in another community. So you have to be really open to looking at different strategies and what's going to fit that area that you're going into. And that's what I think that's really good when you're a global leader is that you're getting to see perspectives from across the world that really helps you to be able to deliver better. And stretches you to say, okay, let's be innovative in this area where there may not be strong Wi-Fi. What other things can we do to really impact and reach these women that may not have access in certain areas? And as I share that, I want to talk to you a little bit about philanthropy. What do you see your role? And one of the things that's really huge for me is that when I go into an area, I want to really also give back. And that's always a part of the work that I do, and whether I'm in the U.S. or in another country. Tell me a little bit about your philanthropy work and what are you doing to give back?
Wow, I love your questions. Yolanda, so Women Empower Global is primarily a nonprofit organization. We're a global nonprofit organization. The reason that it's registered that way is so purposeful. Everything is so purposefully designed at Women Empowered. We basically have a very altruistic vision. In every project we do, we screen our applicants, and I'm very particular to ask them and challenge them with this question.
Yes.
I ask them, if I invest my time in you, if my company invested its time in you, can you tell me how interested you will be to be a woman who will recruit other women and help the ecosystem grow?
That's so good. Oh my goodness, I love that.
Very important prerequisite in all our programs. So very selective. So, if you look at how we have sort of mainstreamed or streamlined our programs, our projects, it's designed around driving altruism. It's designed around keeping it so grounded to the vision and mission and the calling behind why we do what we do. In terms of direct philanthropy, everything we do in Africa is offered completely free. All the forums we conduct, the platform we provide, it's a paid platform, and Women Empowered bears 100% of the cost, and we do it completely free, 100%, purely for social impact. And it's so fulfilling to see the women come back with their testimonials.
Yes.
With their insecurities. And we say, hey, it's okay. But
Exactly.
That's why we do what we do, to facilitate a global platform to connect women and help sisterhood thrive and celebrate in sisterhood, not compete negatively.
Exactly. That is so good. And it's so important. And it really gives them that desire, like, I've been helped. How can I help another woman? And so that's how the ecosystem actually grows. And that is so good. So one of the things I want to ask you is, when you're looking at your whole map of where you're going, do you see it expanding even more going into this next year in more countries? Or are you streamlining to stay focused in a certain area, or are you just open to wherever it leads you?
So everything we do, it starts with the vision and then the action. And that's something I'm very strong about in the culture that I set in Women Empowered. So we have a 12-member global team around the world.
Okay.
In Africa, in US, in Sri Lanka, and really it's just an amazing team that I have, because I have members from Africa, from Netherlands, very diverse, and they challenge me, and I love that.
Yes.
Because one of the things that I always tell people is that leadership, or being a leader, is not about having all the answers.
Exactly.
It's about finding the right answers. And having a diversified team gives you as a leader the opportunity to get so many different diversified opinion and constructive ways of looking at something, especially if you're a global organization like us, like me. So I could certainly see expansion happening, and just this past 24 months, Yolanda, oh boy, we're already in 20 countries, and I can see that growing.
Yes.
Purely because one of the fundamental principles of Women Empowered Global is collaboration.
Absolutely.
Because I see a lot of power in the space of collaboration, and I'm very open to collaboration. Very open to collaboration. A lot of the work we do is very systemic. It's very phased out. Mm-hmm. Nothing is haphazard. So I challenge the team. I have this cool system inside where everybody in my team, they are so dynamic, and they're all leaders, and they get so excited. They all have all these ideas. So I sort of facilitate a forum where they could come up and express that feedback, so that it doesn't really dilute or divert the core vision and mission.
That's so good.
But it does get stored in a very important space, so that when the time comes, you can take that into the mainframe. So it's just a way that I'm managing my expansion right now. Mm-hmm. And also we try to keep it very interactive at the grass level, like the grassroots level, when it comes to our participants from around the world. Example, if it's women in Africa, just doing a 2-minute motivational video and sending it out to the chapter.
Yes.
Telling them that Women Empowered Global is thinking of you.
Right.
And another thing is, I love engaging my global partners. I have 34 right now around the world, Yolanda, just sending me messages for my community, the women in my community. What's important is, end of the day, when you have a global platform, you are playing such an important role, because you are connecting two parties to each other.
Yes.
And the connection happens when they can actually exchange information and use that knowledge. So I really love connecting the locals here with my regional and global communities over there. It could be through LinkedIn platform, it could be through WhatsApp, it could be a closed Facebook group, you name it. But the idea is that bringing that global expertise local and taking the local nuances, challenges, insecurities global, so that you have that real exchange happening. So that global gets to see what really happens in a particular region or local community as well. And that is one of the key things that we facilitate through our platform as well.
Great. Thank you so much for joining me. This time has gone by fast. I will connect individuals that come on to hear our conversation